Hey guys, welcome to the 716 Sports Entertainment Podcast, episode number 30. And today we are going to break down Night of Champions along with SmackDown, which occurred this past Friday, June the 27th. And there is a lot to go over. There's a lot of some big title changes, some big moments that happened, and a wild show this weekend in Saudi Arabia. So we're going to break it all down for you guys. As always, I'm Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by Mr. Sean O'Neill. And I guess we'll start off, Sean. Overall, what did you think about Night of Champions and how it went down?
I thought the show itself was not bad. I mean, considering as Night of Champions, a lot of the time it comes across as a glorified house show, similar to the Saturday Night main events, just on a little bit bigger of a scale. They don't do a ton of like storyline stuff, and a lot of these, like, oh, you don't see a ton of title changes a lot of the time. This one felt like it had a little bit more impact than normal, especially with the King and Queen of the Ring finals and what those the implications of those going forward. And then of course I'll have my little rant in the middle of this once we get to a certain match.
I wonder what match that could be.
If you watched their live stream, you would know.
Jeez. Um, yeah, I would agree with you. I think overall the show was good. It definitely had glorified house show feels like most of these Saudi Arabia shows kind of do. But there were some good matches. There were some not so good matches. I loved the stage. I thought that was awesome. I
Yeah.
thought the audience was, for the most part, excellent. They absolutely brought it for the main event. They brought it for the Cody and Randy Orton match a lot. And then for some of the other matches where there were like really big spots, the audience brought it as well. So I would say props to the crowd in Riyadh. They did a great job, and it really goes to prove that point we've been talking about for a while, where these crowds outside of the U.S. they just do such a better job than these U.S. crowds, unfortunately.
Honestly, there was only one match where the crowd really wasn't into it, and it was that women's Queen of the Ring match. Like it felt like the crowd was into and behind almost every single one of those matches, except for the Cargill Asuka match, which obviously we'll talk about. It was deserving.
Yeah. All right. So let's break it all down. The main card started off with the finals for the King of the Ring tournament between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And to no one's surprise, which by the way, before we'll get this out of the way now, um, yeah, our predictions thing that's going on here. I may or may not be in the lead with 22 points over these jokers, Terrence and Sean, but
Congrats.
we got
Congrats.
it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? As you said, and
Exactly. You deserve
we'll
it though.
keep it going. But Cody obviously picked up the win here. And I think overall, as far as in-ring work, this was the best match on the card. And there's a lot to talk about and a lot to unpack with this match. I mean, technically it was a great match. It was a lot of fun to watch. Cody is one of the best in-ring workers in the company, and Randy Orton obviously is no slouch either. He's also excellent. So these guys obviously were going to put on a great match. But there's a lot of like in-ring psychology here. Like, will one of these guys kind of like, revert to what they were saying when they were both on SmackDown the other day, where they were like, I'm going to do anything it takes to win. And, Randy Orton, obviously, towards the end of this match, was going to go for the punt, but then he hesitated. And then, Cody kind of was really targeting Randy for some of, for his back. He went to do a superplex relatively early in the match and kind of was selling the back injury throughout the match, the lower back injury. And, Cody was kind of healing it up a little bit, really targeting that lower back. So very interesting. And then obviously the finish was very kind of like heel like as well for both of them. So, WWE is really seeming like they're trying to tell the story that one of these guys is going to turn, right? And it's very much seems like, we've been talking about this for a while where Cody will probably win the belt back at SummerSlam. And then one of these two guys is going to turn on the other, and it's going to be a big time feud, I think. So what did you think of the match, the everything I talked about, and then obviously the breakdown, the finish for us as well?
Well, first off, I gave you my hot take prediction for SummerSlam of the double turn that I think is going to happen. But yeah, the match itself fantastic. I mean, Cody and Randy, I would expect nothing but the best out of these two in the ring. They are both have both been around for so long and they know each other so well that they should be able to get a fantastic match out of each other no matter where they are. A little bit surprised that they went with like the heel tactics from both of them. Normally that's something you only see from like one guy in a match. And to see Cody leaning so heavily into the like straight up, and it wasn't just the targeting of his back because that's not necessarily heelish, but the way he was doing it, like trying to wrap him around the ring post, and just like some of the moves that he was doing were things that you would expect like Kevin Owens to do. You know what I mean? But then like I like that both of them had longer than normal entrances. It felt like taking advantage of what the setup there was because that setup was awesome. Um, Both were real over obviously with the crowd there, and got the well justified "this is an awesome" chance from the crowd. Um, and the ending, you and I talked about it a little bit while we were live streaming and how it seemed a little bit weird that Randy went and got the chair and everything. And my only thought is that that was just meant to be a distraction for him to do the corner turnbuckle thing and take advantage of how much he said he would be willing to do absolutely anything to win this match. Obviously it backfired on Randy. He went like ribs first into that turnbuckle, immediately into a crossroads for Cody to get the win. And after the match, I think was a big surprise too. Cody called out whoever the future winner of Cena and Punk would be, but Randy stayed outside the ring for a while. And I know you and I kept talking about it, and it really surprises me that nothing came of that. Like it felt like they were trying to set something up there, and then it just sort of wafted away into nothing.
Yeah, that was certainly interesting, I think, right? Like I was really kind of surprised that nothing happened there. We talked about it obviously a bit during the live stream, and it really seemed like something was going to happen. But I mean, that was all we saw of Cody Rhodes for the whole evening. Like even after the main event was over, we were kind of expecting Cody to come out and, kind of face off with the winner of that match. But obviously, with all of the chaos in the main event, which we'll get to in a little bit, just I guess wasn't in the cards. So I'm sure, they're all probably on their way to Pittsburgh for the double taping that's going to occur
Hopefully.
for both Raw and SmackDown, by now. There's been no reports of anything going on, so I'm sure it's fine. But um I would be willing to bet we will probably see Cody Rhodes on SmackDown, and he'll probably address what's going on. And like, actually, he might even be on Raw because I wouldn't be surprised if John Cena shows up on Raw because he's kind of
Yeah.
been doing it after PLEs. So I feel like this is going to probably start the build, right? I mean, because SummerSlam is about a month away, so it is very likely it is going to be, I mean, obviously we've got the Saturday night's main event show, but that again is kind of like a glorified house show. And our main event for that is already set with Gunther and Oldberg.
Big
So,
Bill.
Big Bill. So, yeah, I would imagine the next 4 weeks are really going to be building up that main event for your first ever 2-night SummerSlam because WWE
I
is really,
forgot.
yeah, WWE is really presenting this like it's going to be a huge show. So you're going to probably get 10 matches, right, over the 2 nights, at least maybe 12, probably six on both nights.
Which which night is going to be Cody's main event? The second
Like
night, you think?
it has to be. It's the main championship.
So what do we think is the night one main event?
Well, we can talk about that as we kind of get a little bit closer to it, but it might be something with Gunther. It might be that, I mean, maybe Jade, maybe, Naomi cashes in and we get some kind of triple threat between Naomi, Jade, and Bianca, maybe Asuka and Io.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a variety of ways we could go. Something with Gunther's title. I mean, maybe a big match between all of the Jokers that are going after Seth Rollins' group.
yeah,
Maybe
true. There's a
maybe
lot.
I mean, we are still Roman Reigns' return is imminent, right? So Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins in a singles match. There's a lot of directions you could go for the main event of that first night. But I mean, yeah, your world title, your main title is the second night. It's the main event. It has to be. Any other and nothing else makes sense there. John
You
Cena's title is the main event.
you don't think they'll be worried about how the WrestleMania one ended and the letdown that that was by having it be the final match?
No, I don't think so because I think we're going to get the right result this time, and I think that the story is going to make a lot more sense.
Okay.
I think like we'll talk about this as we get a little bit closer to it, but I think all indications are pointing to I don't know. I feel like Cody's going to turn heel.
My prediction, my double
I,
turn.
I really, really do. I don't know if Cena's going to turn, sooner rather than later, but something is going to happen at the end of that, or at the end of that, or shortly thereafter that, right? Because we're all kind of like Cena's not getting booed. I don't know if they were expecting Cena to not get booed, but and I mean, Cody's been getting booed in spots, but he's also been getting like, raucous ovations in spots
Yeah.
too. So it's like it's kind of really hard to tell. But Cody has definitely been healing it up a little bit more and more, as these shows have gone on. So his
And he's even
promos,
said,
yeah,
like he's even talked about how he thinks his time as the hero is coming to an end.
yeah. So should be interesting to see, I think. And where we go from here and how we get to this big SummerSlam is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to, obviously break it all down for you guys as we get to it. But I know we've got a few stops along the way as we have Saturday night's main event in 2 weeks and Evolution the day after that, I think, right?
Yep, same weekend.
Yep. So the next match on the card was women's what was it called? A women's something
Riyadh Boulevard street fight.
Riyadh Boulevard Street
Terrifying.
Fight. Yeah, which is this is one of the ones where I was able to take the lead on my fellow compatriots here between Rhea Ripley and Raquel Rodriguez. And the match went kind of exactly as everybody sort of predicted it was going to go. Roxanne obviously came out about two-thirds of the way through the match and kind of, attempted to interfere to sort of help Raquel win. This match was a lot of fun. I really like, it was definitely the best women's match on the card, probably the best women's match of the weekend. And these two women left it all out there. I mean, Rhea got tied up in the ropes early, and Raquel was hitting her with a kendo stick, and it was awesome. And when Roxanne came out and attempted to interfere, Rhea put her in a garbage can and kind of just smashed her around. That was really cool. But yeah, the finish saw Rhea Ripley perform the super riptide off the top ropes through like off of it like a table, which like the
Yeah.
ref had to hold, which looked a little awkward, but I mean, it was fine. It was a really cool spot, and yeah, there's just no way Rhea Ripley was losing here, just no chance. So she's too big of a star, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see I think the story might have made a bit more sense for Raquel to win, given everything that's going on with the Judgment Day. And if without Liv being there, I think everything's just kind of on pause right now. So, but what did you think of the match? I know I kind of went on a little bit of a tangent there, but I thought it was by far the best
So
women's match of the weekend.
you were 100% right. It was the best one. That table spot at the end was definitely interesting. My issue though is it's the same issue I have with my other problem match on this card is storyline wise, it would have made more sense for Raquel to win because you have Raquel win with Roxanne's help. It lets builds up that trust between Roxanne and Raquel, and eventually, I have a feeling that that leads to Raquel having Roxanne take over as her tag partner while Liv is out. And once Liv comes back, that storyline at that point has practically written itself. You have all the jealousy angle, you have all that. And so I feel like having Raquel go over here would have been the smarter long term plan. And like I get it. Rhea is your star, but Rhea can afford to take some losses. Like it doesn't hurt her to take some losses, especially if she loses because she's facing two people at once. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like if she gets cheated on to lose. And I just my only thought as to why they didn't do that is maybe the Judgment Day breakup is going to happen before Liv comes back.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. I mean, something's got to happen in that evolution show, obviously, because there's so many women involved there, and we talked about it a little bit during the live stream, and it kind of feels like the direction they're going to go is Rhea is going to team up with Nikki Bella to probably take on Roxanne and Raquel for those tag team titles. That seems like super likely, unless Brie Bella comes back, which I doubt. There's been no reports of that. So it's probably going to be that, and I would not be surprised if Rhea and Nikki Bella take those women's tag team titles. Probably all the way to SummerSlam.
Blech.
No, yeah, I'm in Nikki Bella in 2025, but
Exactly.
still, I think that's the direction they're going to go. And then Liv will probably be back in like September. So it'll be like right around the time for those things to, that story to kind of get going again, towards the fall. So I am going to let you talk about the next match because you had a lot of thoughts and opinions on the next match. And what did you think of the next match?
So next up, we had local indie talent Sami Zayn um, taking on huge fan favorite Karrion Kross, who in his first PLE match in
Okay.
forever, um, should have this should have been an easy match to book, especially with WWE should have wanted to take advantage of the huge swell of like natural grown support that Karrion Kross has gotten lately. Um, this is similar to my point on the last match. Storyline wise, the wrong person won here. And I will give you credit, Mike. You picked this correctly. T and I both got it wrong.
Yep.
But I was thinking about it from the direction of storyline purposes, not local indie talent winning. Um, so obviously Sami Zayn won. Cross dominated most of the match, and Sami Zayn hit a haluva kick after getting the shit, sorry, pardon my language, but getting the shit kicked out of him. And all of a sudden he runs out of the corner to haluva kick, Karrion Kross, and win. I'm sorry. Doesn't make sense to me. I mean, yeah, I get it. He is your representative of the region, and you probably he comes out wearing the traditional garb. I may or may not have mentioned that in the live broadcast unintentionally. But he obviously they were appeasing the local crowd there, and I I I hate it. I really do. All I can think of is that Karrion Kross isn't going to re-sign his contract, and that is such a waste to me, especially with everything he's been doing. This whole devil on your shoulder character and this fan support. The like you would think the fact that he's selling as much merchandise as he is would get through to WWE and TKO because at the end of the day, all they care about is the bottom dollar. But I don't know. They you got it right, and Zayn won.
Yeah, I mean, it made a lot. It made too much sense, right? I think you're right. I'm really not sure if Karrion Kross is going to resign at this point. And we were kind of talking about it last night as well. I don't even know if he goes to AEW. I could see him going to TNA, or honestly, I could see him just doing something completely different. Like it
They just
might just,
wasted him.
yeah, it might just not be in the cards for him to be in the professional wrestling business, and it is a shame. I mean, but he had too many like hiccups with his character, and he just wasn't over for such a long time, and they didn't know what to do with him. And yeah, I mean, Sammy is like he's just such a favorite over there, right? I mean, he's what is he of Syrian descent, right? And he's such a favorite over there, and ever since they got him over there coming out in the traditional garb and everything else like that, it made too much sense for him to not win that match, and I just, you're going for what do they call it? The cheap crowd pop there as
Cheap
well, right?
props.
Yeah. So it made too much sense for me to not see Sammy win there. I mean, maybe something else happens with Cross and we might all end up being proved wrong. And you know what? You come out and, you get a PLA match. I mean, that's something to be said because, and I know you guys were kind of arguing the point, well, yeah, but what's the point if he doesn't win? True.
Right.
But you know how many guys do not get PLE matches that probably should get PLE matches? I can list like 10 right now, frankly, that are probably higher up the card than Karrion Kross that should get PLE matches and didn't. LA Knight didn't get one. Penta didn't get one here. Andrade didn't get one here. Carmelo Hayes didn't get one here. Rusev, Sheamus, none of these guys were on this card. And frankly, they're all bigger stars than Karrion Kross is. Now, I think that might say something to Karrion Kross at least getting on this card. And I think his fan support might have helped him get on this card a little bit. So just something to think about with that.
I
I
have a
mean,
counterpoint though.
go ahead.
I think that if that's the case, it didn't need to be on the. This didn't have to be a PLA match. The fact that they made it a PLA match kind of makes it feel like a burial to me. This could have been a regular match. There's no reason that this particular match needed to be on a PLE.
I don't think it was burial. He got most of the offense in.
This became a the loss is what makes it a burial, I think. It's his first PLE match in forever, and the only reason that they did this match is because they wanted to get Sami on this card, I bet.
I
And
mean,
it's not even so much the Karrion Kross side of it. It's the Sami side of it.
yeah, I mean, I can agree with that. I think they definitely wanted to get Sami on this card. It definitely gives a lot of positive, because there's a lot of negativity with these Saudi shows from the internet wrestling community, which whatever for the internet wrestling community, but they love to crap on these Saudi shows like a lot. And Sami going there is certainly, it's positive news, right? So, they're definitely taking as much of that as they can there. And I mean, it's obviously why I picked Sami, right? Like for all of those reasons. I don't really think it's anything to do with Karrion Kross. And you're right. The right thing to do would have had to been Kross winning yesterday. But yeah, I don't know. I do not think it's a burial though. I think it's maybe not the step everybody wanted, but I think it's a step hopefully in the right direction for Kross. I mean, dude hasn't had a PLE match since I can't even remember when he's last had a PLE match. Has he ever had a PLE match on the main roster? Didn't he have one with
Was
Drew
Or as I say,
McIntyre?
wasn't his one with Drew a PLE match?
Yeah, that's it. So another PLE match. I mean, it's better than a lot of other guys can say. I don't think Andrade has had one PLE match.
Yeah, he was in Money in the Bank.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, so let's move on to the next match, which was the women's queen of
Oh,
you're shaking your head already. Was it
we
the
missed
women's?
Solo
Solo,
Fatu
Solo was the yeah, I thought oh you're right, the women's was the
was right
no.
before the main event.
Got it. You're right, right. Was the match between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. And this match was cool. I enjoyed this match. I mean, I saw a lot of people who were reviewing this match didn't really particularly like it, and they were kind of calling out just how predictable it was going to be. And we all kind of had a feeling that Hikuleo was, well, they didn't call him Hikuleo, but hopefully he's not going to get another terrible rebranding like Jeff Cobb did, which I'm still not calling him his
The
stupid
law
name.
firm.
He's still Jeff Cobb. Which they're also presenting him like crap, but we'll get to that in a minute. Um, but overall, this match was fine. Uh, uh, Jacob Fatu dominated a lot of this match, and Solo certainly his character work has dramatically improved ever since they kind of have taken him out of the spotlight of having to be like the primary villain of WWE. And now that he doesn't really need to do that, his character work allows him to shine a bit more. The in-ring was great. They obviously presented Fatu like an absolute monster, when all of the other guys were starting to get involved. We obviously had a returning Tonga Loa and then a debuting Hikuleo, right? And yeah, this was great. I mean, he attempted to fight them all off like as much as he could, and he was doing a good job until we got Hikuleo obviously coming out and attempting to choke slam him through the announce table. But yeah, absolute. I thought it was a fine match, and obviously Solo, like it. We were all talking about this. We probably all should have picked Solo because it didn't make any sense, I think, for Jacob to win here. Like, because if Jacob wins here, the story's over with, right? Now, like, you got more people coming in. What's going to happen when Tama Tonga comes back? What's going to happen when Roman comes back if he gets himself involved here? What's going to happen with Jimmy and Jay, et cetera, right? You got a lot of different avenues you can go here now with like the whole, with all of Roman's cousins that are like get involved in this story. So it's certainly going to be very interesting to see where all of the bloodline stuff kind of picks up now, right? Because this is probably the secondary heel group in the entire company now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the biggest part of this match was the return of your future world champion, or of Tonga Loa. But um, no, the match itself was great. I have to 100% agree with you. Solo, now that he is not the main focus of everything, has been doing a damn fine job. And his army getting bigger around him makes sense, I think, storyline wise, for why he won. I am kicking myself for letting T talk me out of it. Because I know you and I were talking about it yesterday, and both you and I had been leaning towards Solo winning just because it made the most sense. I also didn't realize at the time that Fatu had held the belt for 70 days. I thought it was less than that, so I felt like it might have been a little too soon for him to drop the belt. But now you obviously have a ready-made storyline. You have um the Jacob is going to have to fight his way through literally one by one each member of the new bloodline to get it solo again. And I wouldn't be surprised if come SummerSlam you have Jacob solo again for the title.
Yeah. And yeah, it could certainly go in a lot of directions or even like a multi-man match, but it's definitely a lot of fun, like in and around the mid-card title scene, right? Like it's now because obviously now there's a mid-card title involved in this feud. And we talked a lot about how sometimes feuds don't need titles and sometimes titles feuds do need titles. I don't even think that this feud honestly even needs a title now. Like Solo could actually not even have this title and it would be still a good feud. I think the title helps this feud a little bit, and it's nice to see Solo get his first real singles champion
Congrats.
run in here too. So props to Solo. I think he's doing great character work, and yeah, I think he absolutely deserves it. So I'll let you talk about the next match because I know you've got a lot to say about the next match. So please go ahead.
This next match was an absolute embarrassment and a disgrace to the high caliber of athlete that Asuka is. Obviously, this next match was the Queen of the Ring finals between Jade Cargill and Asuka. Um, I mean, it was kind of cool. Jade came out dressed as Storm, which was a pretty unique visual. I know we all picked Jade to win this, I think, and she did. I've been predicting all along that Jade was going to win, beat Tiffany at SummerSlam, and Naomi was going to cash in on her and win the title. But that doesn't change the fact that there's something about Jade that just isn't clicking. She has the look, she has the charisma, but she's not picking it up in the ring or really on the mic. Like this match, she saw Asuka continuing to reverse most of Jade's moves until the end, where she finally hit Jaded and went for that stupid pin where she sits on top of them and somehow managed to botch the pin. Not just botch it, but botch enough that she fell off of her, and Asuka wasn't even on the mat anymore when the ref counted the three. On top of that, she then had that post-match promo that was an absolute travesty. Like, it has me wondering if, I mean, back when she was in AEW, she got the Goldberg treatment, where she was just running wild, short matches, dominating people, held her title for what, like a year and a half, 2 years. But it makes me wonder if maybe Tony Khan saw the writing on the wall. And I hate to give Tony Khan credit on things because you know my opinion of him, but maybe he saw the writing on the wall that Jade didn't have all of what she needed.
Certainly possible. I mean, yeah, I this match was not a good match. Like it wasn't. And I know the story they're trying to tell. We've said it 100 times. Naomi, Bianca, and Jade, right? Like it's a big match for SummerSlam. It makes a lot of sense. Bianca's going to come back in the next couple of weeks, right? Like Naomi is going to find her way to Tiffany's title. Like it makes a ton of sense, I think, for these things to kind of to turn about here. So, but yeah, this match sucked. And I mean, if we find another way to Asuka and Io at SummerSlam, I'm still okay with it. But I just kind of feel bad for Asuka. She's the better wrestler by a mile. And I think Jade needs to spend more time in the performance center. I really do. I don't think that she's ready to be in the big leagues yet. And she's been doing this for almost a year and a half now at this point, and I'm still just not impressed with her. She's got the look. She absolutely has the look. She looks like a million bucks, but her promo skills suck. Her in-ring skills are not that good. She seems a bit unsafe. And yeah, she needs a lot more polish. And I think she really would have benefited from some more time in NXT.
She should have gone to NXT. She never even went to NXT.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Like you have people like Jordan Grace and even like Vakur and them went to NXT first. They obviously didn't need it. Jade Cargill is a prime example, or even Mariah May down there now. Mariah May didn't need to go to NXT, like or Blake Monroe, whatever the hell her name is there. Um, Jade Cargill is the prime example of why people should take the road through NXT first.
So this led us into the main event of the Doctor of Thugonomics Punk Life, CM Punk, versus the 17-time world champion John Felix Anthony Cena Jr. And this match was interesting. There was a lot that went on with this match, so we'll kind of break it all down. So the match, obviously, for the first like 10, I think this match went about 22 minutes. Um, the first 10 to 12 minutes of this match were pretty slow. There was a lot of rest holds, and the match was just, kind of like back and forth, really, really slow. And, the guys were really sort of just feeling each other out a bit, during as this match was kind of going on in the beginning. It kind of picked up in the middle when John Cena hit several AAs on CM Punk, to which he kicked out of three of them. And then obviously CM Punk, returned with a GTS, which Cena also kicked out of. And then obviously the match kind of went into high gear a little bit towards the end here when, Cena attempted to, as he saw that the AAs were not putting CM Punk away, Cena went to go and get the title like he has in all of the other matches and attempt to go for the headshot with the title, to which the crowd almost seemed to like kind of change the way Cena was feeling about this a little bit, which caused him to sort of toss the title away. And, they just started beating down on each other again after that. And then as the match got a little bit further on, when both men were fully down and, another ref bump had occurred, um, uh, Punk got the visual pin for like 15 seconds after another GTS. And as they were both down on the ground, Seth Rollins and company, Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed, came down to the ring with the Money in the Bank briefcase after kind of a long, long entrance where they were kind of standing on the rampway. And they proceeded to beat Punk down. They proceeded to beat Cena down. And we did have some good guys that kind of attempted to make their way down to help in Penta and Sami Zayn, which I think this was a wasted spot. Instead of having Sami Zayn, it should have been LA Knight.
Yep.
But regardless, those two guys attempted to sort of fight off the heels, and it obviously really didn't do that much. And they kind of got Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker out of the ring. Seth Rollins was going to attempt to cash in again. John Cena got in his face a little bit, and then CM Punk got himself into the ring. Seth Rollins turned around and clocked him with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And our second referee, who I neglected to mention, good old, which by the way, I found out Charles Robinson is in his 60s, and he
Yep.
booked it down to the ring as the second referee, and he got clocked by a shoulder
Yeah.
tackle, John Cena, which was super interesting. But then the first referee made his way back into the ring after CM Punk got clocked by the briefcase, and John Cena AA'd Seth Rollins out of the ring. And, CM Punk took the pin there, and John Cena retained as your world champion as Seth Rollins and group looked on to their kind of dismay a little bit that he was not able to successfully cash in here. And Cena made his way up the ramp with no Cody Rhodes coming out to give the face-to-face, and that is how Night of Champions went off the air. So what do you think of the match and everything, all the craziness that went down in the end?
So I think the very end, I think it was a missed opportunity by not having Cody come out and just at least go face to face with Cena. That would have been a pretty good visual to end the night on. But the match itself, I mean, it was slow to start, which we pretty much expected. Both of these guys are starting to get up there in years. The first rough bump, obviously expected. I think Cena with the title, though, that's part of what has me thinking my lines of the double turn that's going to be coming. Because you could see him being almost like morally conflicted there with doing it. And then during the actual round of interference, you're right. He blasted the hell out of Charles Robinson when Seth called Robinson down, and Cena literally came out of nowhere to shoulder block him like halfway across the outside of the ring. But I think the other thing that we forgot where we didn't mention during the interference was Cena getting Bronson Reed up for an AA.
Yeah, it was
Like,
impressive. Yeah.
I mean, we haven't since Cena's been back, he really hasn't taken on anybody who's been on the larger side. And to see that he can still has the strength to get someone the size of Bronson Reed up is damn impressive. Um, and then the fact that it was kind of weird that when Penta was coming out to try to make the save, he felt the need to do his Michael
Dance.
Jackson strut. Um, I don't really consider it a dance. He just does that weird like strut down to the ring. It's like you see everybody getting the shit kicked out of him. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit, buddy. Um, the and then I know we were listening to a couple of people give reviews of it, and they were hating on it a little bit more, but I didn't mind it. I mean, it was kind of overbooked, but that's how a lot of these Cena things seem to be. And then at the end, when Cena and Punk fought everyone off together and they hugged and shook hands, and I 100% want a meme made out of Cena's face when the camera focused on him there. Um, but yeah, he took advantage of Rollins. I think it's a little more surprising though because I did not expect Rollins to actually try to cash in on this belt, and I think that just goes more towards your how you talk about the world building around these titles
Yeah.
and how now it's not just the Raw title that Rollins is building a world around, but the SmackDown one too. Because I'm still convinced that Rollins is going to cash in on the Raw title. I think we're going to find our way to Sami Zayn versus Gunther at SummerSlam, and I think that Sami's going to win and Rollins is going to cash in. But the fact that now there's that little bit of a question mark on if which title he's actually going to go after. Like,
Yeah.
is he going to go after it when Cody wins it? Like, does Cody win the title at SummerSlam and does Rollins cash in on Cody? Like,
Yeah.
it leaves a lot more question marks up in the air.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And also, I guess, where do we go from here with CM Punk as well, right? Like, what is he going to be? Is he going to, obviously, it seems like his feud with Seth Rollins is probably not over. And I would imagine we're going to get some like schmozzle thing of like LA Knight, CM Punk, Penta, maybe Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins group at SummerSlam. Because even if Seth Rollins does cash in, that group still has to have a match at SummerSlam. So I would imagine we're going to get some mess of all of those guys together in a match. Maybe even Seth Rollins' group gets another member in Ethan Page. And we go in that direction. So yeah, overall good show. Definitely had the house show vibes, but I didn't hate it. Like most WWE shows over the last year, there was a lot to like, but it could have been better. And there were some things that definitely could have been booked better. So yeah, overall that was Night of Champions. Let's just quickly touch on some of the big newsworthy things that happened on SmackDown. And this is gonna be something I think we'll kind of do going forward for you guys, is we won't do a show like just a specific show on SmackDown the same day as a PLE because most of the stuff that happened on SmackDown was kind of just leading towards the PLE. So it's a bit just simpler to just talk about like what ended up happening on the PLE. But there were some highlights on the PLE, a couple or on SmackDown that were a couple of matches and some noteworthy things that happened. So, why don't you go ahead and touch on what happened on SmackDown that was noteworthy outside of the PLE building stuff?
I mean, we got our tease of Fatu and Jimmy Uso teaming up potentially at some point in a backstage segment. We'll talk about like this. I'll do the segments first. We had Aleister Black and Ron Killings looking like they're going to be getting into a program of some sort. Um, R-Truth came out to call out Cena again, and Black came out and pretty much just KO'd him in the middle of the ring. But my only question in regards to that one is, are we going to get Damian Priest somehow involved in that? Because after he knocked out Killings, Black ran into Damian Priest in back, who had words for him as well about it. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. Are they going to treat Aleister Black like a heel with this and go that direction? Especially with the rumors being that he's impressed enough people backstage that they want to give him a main event level push to the degree that Damian Priest had, which I know all of us would be behind because we think Aleister Black is awesome and we don't
Yeah.
want to see him get wasted. But that's it as far as like the non-match segments go that didn't directly impact the PLE. I mean, other than of course mentioning Thugonomics Punk, but that which was hysterical. But then the matches themselves, there were a couple pretty big ones. There was Andrade and Phoenix teaming up to beat DIY, which Andrade and Phoenix as a team are 2-0, and it's nice to see them getting some wins. Then we had your girl in a U.S. title match against Zelina Vega. I'll let you talk about that one.
Love me some Julia. I'm so glad that they put the title on her. I saw some people who weren't thrilled about it on the internet because they didn't do a good job with Zelina's like overall reign. I think she held the title for, I don't know, 45, 50 days or whatever. But she was very clearly going to be a transitional champion, I think. And I think Julia is going to probably hold this belt for a while. And I think the best way to get Julia over with the main crowd now, who doesn't really, probably isn't familiar with her work outside of the WWE, is to just have her put on killer matches with that title. Do something similar to the US Open Challenge that John Cena did a few, got like 10 years ago now at this point. But just have awesome matches every week because she's absolutely capable of it, right? She's fantastic. She's one of the best wrestlers on the roster in that women's division. So I'm super excited to see where they go with that. And I hope that now you've got that title on somebody actually credible that we can kind of do some good stuff with it.
I I will say I'm glad to see Julia get the belt, and I think this was Zelina's best match as champ because she did
Yeah.
have quite a few matches as champ, but this one was her best, which no doubt is partially due to being in the ring with Julia. It's just too bad that it came in a loss that she couldn't have had some better matches overall. But yeah, obviously we had our new champion there. The next one I'm going to let you talk about too, because I know you have feelings on this. It was a tag team title match between the
Mm.
Street Profits and the Wyatt Six that ended obviously in a no contest. We've been talking a lot about this sort of the SmackDown tag division for a while and how good it is, but we have a problem now with the SmackDown tag division, and I believe it's called the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, it's not 1991 anymore. We need to realize that we're in 2025 and the spooky stuff isn't interesting anymore. It's really not. And your supernatural characters burying all of these amazing tag teams that you have is not interesting to me. The Street Profits, Fraxium, DIY, Pretty Deadly, the Motor City Machine Guns. These tag teams are excellent, all of them. These belts should just be going back and forth between these tag teams like until the end of time. And just constantly having, these five or six tag teams continue to put on matches. But then when you have your spooky heel, not even heels, just your spooky group come out and just beat everybody all of the time and then have like grown ass men just like, oh my God, I'm so scared of a guy in a mask. Like, stop. Just stop that crap. It's not interesting. It's 2025. Let's get with the program here. Like the Wyatts are cool. Like the Wyatts are a cool gimmick. They really are, but I'm not interested. I'm really not interested in it at all. I don't want to see it anymore. I think that should have stopped with The Undertaker and sadly the passing of Bray Wyatt. And yeah, I mean, I like those guys. I would wish that they maybe could just do something different with them. Have them have that, like, have them have backstage roles or like whatever it is you're gonna do, but it needs to be something different, I think.
So this might be a bit of a hot take for me because I absolutely loved Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt worked because I mean, yes, he wasn't the greatest in the ring, but his storytelling was what carried him. Um, he it wasn't the supernatural side of Bray Wyatt that I think worked. It was more so like the mental games of things and like cult leader Bray Wyatt as the Eater of Worlds or like the Fiend. Didn't so much, yeah, he appeared out of nowhere and like that kind of stuff, but the Fiend gave off more of like a horror movie killer vibes than like spooky shit, you know what I mean? And I think that's why the Fiend worked as a character and why Wyatt himself was able to work as a character. And I think that if you want the Wyatt Six to work, they should lean into that side of things. Like lean into them being a cult and not being like like these supernatural monsters. Like lean into what did Bo do or how did Bo get fractured to the point that he became Uncle Howdy and why did everybody actually join him? And like try to convert
Well,
people.
we still don't know. Like we still
Right.
have no anything on these characters. We had a couple of promos like way back when about Bo Dallas, and Uncle Howdy kind of like chatting with one another like months ago at this
Which
point,
was
like
cool.
6 months ago at this point. But like it's stopped. Like it's all stopped at this point, and now it's like nothing. And maybe I don't know what we're doing with these guys, but
But
I don't know.
lean back into that and get away from the whole supernatural people being scared of these guys in a mask and have them put on great matches, but have it tell the story of why these people got brainwashed into joining this group
Yeah.
and have them go after or have even if God forbid have Alexa Bliss join and or have them find someone else and try to convert them. Something along those lines. But the other problem is why the hell the tag division? Like I get it. You have Gacy and Loomis who you can work as a tag team, but you don't have to have them, especially the SmackDown tag division that's as good as it is. Have them beat up on the Raw tag division where nobody cares.
Well, there are no tag teams.
Like, figure out something over there. I feel like this is not the spot for them, and it's going to end up wasting what you have there. You know what I mean?
It'd be they would be a perfect outlet to go up against like the New Day and like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, right? Like,
There you go. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, with everything that's going on to them, with the two of them and their infighting, have them try to convert one of the two of them.
yep. Yep, that'd be a perfect thing to do with them. Have them fight those guys. Have them fight the New Day. Have them go after the New Day and like get after them for the crap they did to Big E, right?
Yeah,
Like so many things that they could do. Teams that they could go after. They kind of were doing it a little bit with Chad Gable. They never really finished it. But the same thing like with the now it's been gone for how long? The El Grande Americano character, right? Like we haven't seen that in a few weeks now.
Oh,
Like have
it's
them go out.
there's a
No, but
reason Gable hurt.
no, I know, but like have them, that's another catalyst for that story as well. Like have them tell a story about how you're a fraud and a phony and we're going to expose you, like that kind of stuff, right? There's so many different like outlets you can go to. So many, you could use those characters to kind of clean up a lot of like your bad storytelling, with a lot of these characters or stories that really never went anywhere. You could use those characters to like make those stories better or just tell those stories that never got a chance to get told.
Like,
And it's dumb. I mean, we've gone on way too long about this, but like, I think it's stupid. And I wish that they would just do anything different with these guys.
and
Um,
well, we have one more match to talk about, and the last match is hopefully, for the love of God, the final match, the final match in this feud. It was our first street fight of the weekend. Somehow, though, this one wasn't on Riyadh Boulevard. I don't quite get that, but our champion Tiffany Stratton versus the never-ending scourge known as Nia Jax.
yeah,
Uh,
I go ahead. I have nothing to say about this. I'm just glad it's over.
all I have to say is what you just said there is, for the love of God, this get Nia out of the title picture. This needs to be over. And I mean, obviously Tiffy retained. Um, the match itself, I mean, it was a street fight. It made sense because Tiffy really probably isn't beating Nia without some sort of stipulation. And I mean the spots were all right, but just Nia is just not a good wrestler, and it's it's dragging down Tiffany's title reign. The amount of time she's had to fight Nia Jax. I mean, there's enough women on this roster that there has to be somebody else she could have got, could have had like a mini feud with. And then obviously Naomi tried to cash in and failed, which is going to be the story for a while that she keeps trying and failing. But I just like we just said, I really hope that this is a sign that we are done now with Nia Jax in the title picture.
Yeah, I'm just so disappointed in Tiffany's title reign. And honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in Io's title reign too. They've done nothing with either one of these women after WrestleMania. Nothing. These women have done next to nothing. No meaningful feuds after like we are in July just about now, and WrestleMania was in April, and these women have done next to nothing.
Has Io even defended the title?
She was in no.
Tiffany has, but I don't think Io has.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. There's been next to no meaningful feuds for these women at all. It's so disappointing that these are your champions and you've got mid-card people, mid-card women getting more spotlight than these women. Like what are we doing? These are your main women's titles. Do a better job. And I'm not trying to like white knight here like at all. I'm really not. But like if you want people to take this seriously and you want people to give a crap about your main titles and you want to have your titles be like represented on these big stages, make them mean something. Do what you're doing. Like I don't expect them to do with these women's titles what they're doing with the men's titles. There's no way. These women are not as big a stars as the men, but they're also not presented that way as well. And that's kind of a bit unfortunate, right? Because Rhea's a big star. Io could be a big star. Asuka is a big star. I mean, like so many, like, what are we doing? I feel like honestly, the only women's feud I kind of give a crap about at all is what's going on with Becky, Bailey, and Lyra.
Yep.
Pretty much the only women's feud I kind of give a crap about right now. And just the rest of it is just not interesting to me. It's really not. They need to do a better job, because so many of these women are frankly who are in their prime are just getting wasted. I want to see Io wrestle like every
Asuka.
couple of weeks. Yeah. I want Io and Asuka for that title at SummerSlam. Give me that. Like that would be fantastic. Let them go for just 20 minutes. I don't even care if Asuka loses. Just give me that match for 20 minutes. That would be fantastic.
Yep.
Um, yeah, so overall, kind of a lot we unpacked here. But yeah, the shows were good. There was some good stuff, there was some crappy stuff, and it's going to be very interesting to see where we go from here. The main event for SummerSlam is certainly going to be shaping out. It seems to be all set, and I think once we get past the Gunther Oldberg Big Bill match, I think we'll really be on the road to SummerSlam here, which is I believe the first weekend in August. So yeah, any final thoughts?
Um, Overall, not a bad weekend for wrestling for the most part. The good outweighed the bad. I know I had a lot of fun watching the doing the live stream of the Night of Champions and watching that. It was pretty entertaining. Thanks for anybody who did happen to tune in and like
Yes,
and
thank you.
subscribe, catch those because I'm sure we'll do some more of those going forward. Um, and if we get you guys to join, that would be fun. We could chat with you guys while doing it. But I give the weekend overall, like SmackDown and Night of Champions combined, probably a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I would agree. Good wrestling. I mean, the wrestling itself is, except for I think like one match this weekend, which we touched on. The wrestling was good, as it usually is, right? It's just that a lot of what we seem to like had take issue with is some of the storytelling could be a bit better, So yeah, but I'm very excited to see where we go in the build towards SummerSlam. So as always, guys, that has been our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I've been Mike with 716 Sports Entertainment, joined by my main man, Mr. Sean O'Neill. As always, smash that like and subscribe button. We really, really appreciate it and help us grow this channel. And if there are things you're seeing here that we're doing that you think suck, that we could kind of change up and make better, let us know. We're trying to always improve this channel the best we can, and we can't do it without your feedback. So, thanks so much for joining us, guys. Have a great rest of your weekend and take care.